Hey guys, we're going to look at composition of functions. This is kind of a neat little lesson, probably something that you've never really looked at before, but it says suppose f and g are functions such that the range of g is a subset of the domain of f. So let's put that in English, right? What that's saying is the y values of g become a set of the domain for the f values. So again, what that means is when I plug in some value for x, I get out a range, right? I plug in the x, it gives me out a y value. That y value then becomes what I plug in place of this f. So that's what it's talking about. So let's look at how that makes sense by looking at some ordered pairs. Okay, so if I have the composition f of g of x, g of x is my innermost function. So I'm evaluating this for when x is equal to 4. So I come over here to my g function. I find where x is 4. Well, when x is 4, that gives me a y value that is 1. So that y value is now the new x value for my f function. So it says, okay, we've got this function f of x, where now our x is 1. So what is that evaluated at? Well, if I go to my f function, look at where x is 1, it gives me out a y value of 12. Okay, so now we're going to input a 5 in place of x. So we come to our function, we look for 5. When I put in a 5, I have an output of 0. So then that tells me, working from the inside out, well, I've got f of 0. F of 0, come over here, look for my 0. I get out a 13, so f of 0 equals 13. All right, g of 13, come over here. I have this 13 here. When I put in a 13 for x, I get out a 9. So I want to evaluate what is f of 9. Come over to this function, find a 9. 9 has an output of 7. If I put in a 12 for g of x, I get out a 10. So now I'm going to evaluate f of 10, and f of 10 is 11. Okay, so what would happen if I put in f of g of, I don't know, negative 2? Well, f of g of negative 2. If I look at g, there is no negative 2 value. So there is nothing there to evaluate. I can't say, well, g of negative 2 is nothing. F of nothing is nothing. So we just don't put anything. There is no value here. So we can't solve that one. So our domain for this given function is all of the values that we put in. We put in 4, 5, 13, 12. So our domain is 4, 5, 13, and 12. We couldn't use the negative 2 because it wasn't a part of our ordered pairs. And my range is the output that I got. Well, my output is 7, 11, 12, and 13. So my range is 7, 11, 12, and 13. All right, so now we could do that backwards too. You know, if the problem had said g of f of x, then we would just work backwards. So we would look at f of 1. F of 1 is 12. Just do one of these. Since f of 1 is 12, then we do, okay, what is g of 12? Well, g of 12 is 10. So it works backwards as well. Okay, so composition of functions, we're given that f of x is equal to 2x minus 5, g of x equals 3 of x. Find the composition of f of g of x, state the domain and the range for each. So again, we're doing f is our outermost function, g of x is our innermost function. So we know our innermost function is 3x. So it's telling me to evaluate f of x, but instead of doing f of x, I've got to do f of 3x. So taking this function, and wherever there's an x, I'm going to plug a 3x in place of it. So I have 2 times 3x minus 5. We can simplify this, and I get 6x take away 5. So that is f of g of x. Okay, let's do it the other way. Let's look at g of f of x. Well, f of x is 2x minus 5. So we're going to do f of 2x minus 5. So now we look at this function, and wherever there's an x, we put in 2x minus 5. So I have 3 times 2x minus 5. We can distribute 6x minus 30 is the composition. So see, they don't have the same values. Maybe sometimes they will, but they're not guaranteed to. And for this one, my domain would be all real numbers because it's all in terms of x and y. I could plug in anything that I want. There's no division or anything. So my domain could be all real numbers. And same for my range. And it's the same for this function over here. We have an x. We could plug any number we wanted in for x, and we're going to get out a corresponding y. So my domain and my range are all real numbers. Okay. So now I would like for you to pause the video and you find the composition of f of g of x and state the domain and the range. Okay, so we're going to distribute. I've got negative 2x cubed plus x plus 1. And my domain and my range, again, are all real numbers. All right, hopefully that made sense. Now what I would like for you to do is try problems 9 through 14, and hopefully you will see that I posted the answers to yesterday's assignment as well. If you have any questions, email me and let me know.